Welcome back, YouTubers. Today I'll be doing a video on my top 15 bug-in items. Stay tuned. So before we go any further, let's just talk about what a bug-in is. So a bug-in is something's gone wrong. It's dangerous to go outside. Maybe there's no electricity. Maybe cars aren't working. So you got to stay inside for security and for protection from the elements. So really, bugging in should be the primary option for most people, even though a lot of people in the prepping community really, focus on the bugging out. Realistically, you want to focus on bugging in more because that's more realistic, right? So at least you have a shelter, and you have all your supplies are with you. So bugging in is going to be a good option. And what you would need for a bug in is a lot different than what you would need for a bug out, but there is some overlap, right? So a lot of your camping items like lanterns, flashlights are also applicable for a bug in. So, but there's a lot more things to think about. So let's talk about some of those things, and let's talk about my top 15 bug in items. So there's a good chance if cell phones don't work, that landline phones will actually work in a lot of situations, depending on if it's an EMP attack, depending on if it's a nuclear attack, a cyber attack. There's a good chance that landline phones will work even when cell phone towers and cell phone communications are down. That's why, for a bug in, my 15th item is a landline telephone. 13, entertainment. So if you're going to be staying a lot of time inside indoors, then you're going to really want to have a way to keep your mind occupied, right? So entertainment can be anything from books to board games to card games, anything really that is fun to do that's indoors. So remember that it's good to have a backup of electronic things like DVDs, but they may fail if you run out of energy. So have board games, have things that you can use without electricity, and maybe it's good to turn the power off for one day. So if you have a family, turn the power off for one day and just see if you can last. Number 13, tools. So admittedly, I'm not the most handy person when it comes to fixing things and things like that, but I can definitely jerry rig something if I have to. And I do have a good assortment of tools that I can use to at least keep the building structurally sound. So a hammer and nails is really better than nothing. So I would start with a hammer and a lot of nails and duct tape, and then kind of kick it up from there. Get some more stuff that could be useful, because you don't want your shelter to be compromised during a bug-in situation. You don't want your roof to collapse. You don't want anything to happen to your windows or anything like that. So, of course, the old prepper thing is to board the house up, but that may not be the route you want to go. So, 12, extra blankets. So, the reason why blankets are so important is because if you run out of power, you may not have a heat source. Even if you have, a fireplace, wood stove with logs, You're going to want extra blankets for sure. They can be used for a lot more than just personal heat, but they can also be used to insulate certain rooms, certain doors, and certain windows. If you just duct tape or nail them down in an emergency, they can help contain all the heat within one room. And you can also sleep on top of them as kind of a layer off of the floor that gives you even more warmth, if you will, if you don't want to bring your mattress into the living room. In an emergency, everybody can huddle up in the living room. If you have a family, if you have a lot of people, the more bodies you get within one room, kind of the better. But just be careful that, that you guys are staying hygiene, because if you don't, then you can get sick, right? So when you talk about Valley Forge during the Revolutionary War, a lot of soldiers would get sick because they were in such close proximity to each other. As a way to stay warm, they would huddle up. And that can really, if you're not cleaning yourself well and you don't have good access to hygiene, then that could be problematic. And when it's cold, you don't really want to hygiene when it's cold, because who wants to shower with a bucket of cold water or wash your armpits with a cold rag? But you have to. So number 11, candles. So again, talking about not having electricity, candles are going to be a great way to give you extra light if you need it, and also to warm the room just a little bit. Candles actually do provide a little bit of heat, so just something to keep in mind. So stock up on a lot of candles, and it'll definitely help you out in an emergency situation without electricity. Number 10, fire extinguishers. So assuming that there may not be medical services or any kind of emergency services, you're going to definitely want a couple fire extinguishers, and maybe other means as well, like a fire blanket, and things like that. So it's probably a good idea to have an extinguisher in the kitchen or where you may cook food, and then also just one maybe in the front of your house, kind of where the front door may be. So now, if you are going to be using camping type of grills and things like that, if you do run out of normal ways to cook your food, then camping stoves, like propane camping stoves, can be great. But they're much preferred to use outside if you can. But if security is really an issue, then you may have to actually use that inside. And so it's going to be very important to have that fire extinguisher ready in case there is an accident. Number 9, extra batteries. So extra batteries you would think would go without saying, but you need more batteries than you think. So make sure you have a good stockpile of them for flashlights, radios, anything like that, really. So I can't say it enough how important batteries are. Make sure you have a good variety of batteries, D batteries, AAA, AA, any extra batteries you might need for optics and things like that. So just have a drawer and basically just fill it with batteries. That's your best bet. At places like Costco and BJ's, you can get the big packs of batteries, and just have a good stockpile on hand. Number 8, self-defense items. So this is going to depend on what state you live in and things like that. But just having some kind of self-defense item is going to be crucial. Unfortunately, during emergencies, there is people that take advantage of vulnerability and vulnerable people. So there's bad people out there, and when they feel like there's been a breakdown in society, a breakdown of let's say police capability and things like that, then people are really gonna take advantage of that. So you may have to defend yourself or your family, and unfortunately that's the best way to do that is with weapons. So even just melee weapons is better than nothing, but if you can get a firearm, get it. Just make sure that you're trained in how to use it properly and safely. Yeah, so that's number 8, self-defense items. Number 7, flashlights. So it's going to be important to have a way to move light in a portable way. So it is good to have lanterns. It is good to have candles. But if you need to check out something in the backyard, if you think someone's creeping around the bushes, the best thing to really bring out would be a directional flashlight. And it's important to keep in mind that a flashlight is also a security tool. So having a couple good flashlights, and there's a lot of options. You can have rechargeable ones that take batteries, and things like that. But it's just really important to have a good amount of flashlights. I mean, I would have several flashlights. Just collect them every month. Just buy a flashlight and invest in some really high-end ones, invest in some medium, and then invest in just several cheap ones. That way you'll always have a flashlight when needed. Number 6, camping lanterns. So without electricity, if it's a blackout, it is good to have candles and flashlights, but camping lanterns will probably be the most efficient and the most useful in the initial stages of it. So there's many different type of camping lanterns. There's battery powered ones, there's rechargeable ones, and there's ones that run on fuel like kerosene. Okay, I would have probably 2 or 3 of these that use all different types. So I would have maybe one that runs on the kerosene fuel, and then one that's rechargeable, maybe that you keep on your desk that you can recharge with your desktop computer. That's what I do. And then a true camping one that just runs on AA or D or AAA batteries. So number 6, camping lanterns. Number 5, food. So for bugging in, the best option by far is going to be canned food. Some people may disagree, but we could get canned food really cheap, and you can just stockpile it in a pantry or in a drawer, and it'll last for quite some time, probably up to 10 years for most cans of food. So get a wide variety of different foods, vegetables, beans, meat. If you like fish, you can get canned fish pretty cheap. Canned tuna. You can get sardines and things like that. Corned beef hash, Spam. Spam has been known as a prepper staple. And canned food isn't the only thing that you may want, but when you're just starting out, you can't beat it for the price. So canned food, get yourself like a 3-month pantry. Now, the more people you have in your household, the more you're going to need, but have like a 3-month supply of canned food to start. Now, there's a lot of other foods that are excellent for long-term storage, like white rice, honey, which is what the ancient Egyptians used to store, actually. Who would have known that the ancient Egyptians were preppers, but hey. So other foods that are pretty good for kind of the intermediate or short term is peanut butter. Peanut butter can last a pretty long time. But for just, people that are just starting out, I would just say canned food is the way to go. For bugging out, you want to go with the freeze-dried food like Mountain House. But this video is all about bugging in, so start off with the canned food. Number 4, medical items. So this is a pretty broad category. First aid, have a good first aid kit. A lot of the first aid kits you buy are pretty cheap. You may have to kind of reinforce them with more things, like the individual components. You can buy extra of them. So, but one of the best first aid kits that you can get is, or one of the best brands is MyMedic. MyMedic has great products, really good durable equipment, and really reasonably priced first aid kits. And also have a good stock inside your hygiene cabinet or wherever you keep things like that, your medicine cabinet. Have Neosporin, have, rubbing alcohol, bandages, NyQuil, medicines, all types of stuff like that, Tylenol. And if anyone has prescriptions, try to keep an extra stock of that. Try to keep because if you go to CVS or Walgreens and there's nobody working there anymore and the place has been raided and all the medicine has been stolen, well, you're going to be out of luck. So if you are reliant on medications, try to have a good stock of extra prescriptions. So that's it. So number 4, medical item. All right, number 3 is going to be water. So it's important to store water, and it's important to have ways to purify it. Okay, so if you're just starting out, I would go to the convenience store right now and get like 2 gallons of water. And every week or every, maybe a couple times a week, just get like the big containers, the big plastic containers of water, and just stock it up in a closet or something, and then start buying cases of bottled water. Okay, so despite what people may tell you, water that's sealed in a plastic container, like a water bottle or those big plastic jugs, are indefinite. They'll last indefinitely. So stockpile on those, and maybe as you advance, you could get one of those water machines that have the 5 or 10 liter jugs, and have ways to store water too. Buckets. They have the collapsible camping buckets in case you do have to draw questionable water from a source like a river or a lake and bring it home to purify it. So have multiple ways to purify it. Liquid bleach can be used to purify water, so I would have a good stock of liquid bleach. Just a couple of drops of that can purify a whole gallon of water. Okay, depending on, I would filter it first, but liquid bleach doesn't last forever. So what a lot of preppers do is they actually buy unscented pool shock powdered, pool shock can be used to purify water, and it lasts a lot longer than liquid bleach will. So have ways to filter it, boil it. You can get those electric pitchers that boil like 5 liters of water for coffee and for tea, but you could also realistically just use that just to purify water. So and if you have no electricity, you can get a small solar panel to actually give that electric pitcher power. So have a lot of water stored up and have multiple ways to filter it, boil it, and purify it. Number 2, a battery-powered radio. So why is this so high up on the list? Well, because information is important. This is, their information is time critical, right? So if something's happening, if it's a national emergency, you may or may not want to follow the advice of the government or people that you listen to, but you probably should, because it's probably going to save your life. So it's important to monitor the radio to figure out what's going on. You may want to have someone pulling a night shift or listening into the radio at night in a separate room from where everyone is sleeping, and maybe do that in shifts, maybe 2 or 3 hour shifts, depending on how many heads you have in your household, and who is actually reliable to not fall asleep during this process. I would monitor the radio constantly and make sure you have enough batteries to actually make it last. So a battery-powered camping radio. You can get them with the hand cranks or with the solar panels. You can get them also rechargeable, USB rechargeable. But this is, for bugging in, this is absolutely invaluable. Number 2, battery-powered radio. Number 1, hygiene items. So you may be surprised to see that hygiene items are number 1, but when you think about cleanliness and the relationship that cleanliness really has to your health, hygiene items are invaluable. Okay, so whether if it's just having extra mouthwash, which since it's alcohol based, it pretty much will last forever. I have several bottles of mouthwash. It can also be used to disinfect things and to clean things as well. But the number one hygiene item that you definitely need to stock up on, by and large, is toilet paper. Okay, now there's multiple ways to do this, but if you're just starting out, I would just buy a lot of toilet paper. I would just buy a lot of toilet paper, to the point where it almost gets stupid. All right. But they also have the toilet paper tablets that you can buy, which are more condensed. But I would have both. I would have the toilet paper tablets and regular toilet paper as well. And also wet wipes. Wet wipes are also great for if you have to bug out. But if you need to clean yourself, or, they have so many applications for when you're bugging in as well. So wet wipes, toilet paper tablets, and toilet paper are the three most important. But also feminine, if you have females in your household, feminine hygiene products as well are very important, for just maintaining just general cleanliness, and also for other applications as well. Toothbrushes and toothpaste, just stock up on them. It's a very cheap, considering how long it lasts. So if you buy, a package of, let's say, 7 or 8 big tubes of toothpaste, that'll probably last a year. So good return on investment, if you do have to bug in for a prolonged amount of time. So number one, hygiene items. All right, folks, so I would say I'm about at the intermediate phase of prepping. I definitely have a good stock of hygiene stuff. And when I talk about hygiene, I think I was also talking about cleaning items too. I kind of group them together. So I have a ton of disinfectant spray, Swiffer, for wood and for tiles and things like that. Notice a lot of that toothpaste back there. I know for toothbrushes and toothpaste, I have enough for my lifetime, for my whole family, whole household. So a lot of toilet paper, can never have enough of that. Soap, especially hand soap, because you don't want people getting infected and getting sick. So having, and don't forget too, if the electricity runs out, then you may run out of hot water. So having soap is going to be crucial, totally crucial. All right. And also hand sanitizer. Okay. So that's what a pretty good, I would say, intermediate level pantry looks like. I also have these filled pouches that are ready to go, filled with different kind of hygiene gear, deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste. So I have 3 of those. So if I have to bug out in a hurry, I can just grab these. Like, this is in a box, so if I could just grab this when I bug out, I'd have enough to last me for a while. And then also this too, where you'll find a lot of shampoo and things like that. I can just grab them and go. That's the good thing about having them in boxes and bins. So don't forget to stock up too on the N95 masks, okay? Not to scare anybody, but we don't know when the next pandemic is going to hit us. So have a lot of those. Plus, they have other uses as well. Just to, if there's dust and things like that, it's just great to stock up on those. So the N95 respirator masks, and just the regular single use, just the cheap ones. So Rome wasn't built in a day. You just, if you really want to stock up, you go to BJ's or Costco, and you can get several like bottles of Listerine and Purell and things like that. So, but that's just a good look there at a good stocked hygiene cabinet.